It's expected to be released soon. I do love how his voice is the one over the top of it. But when I first heard, I was like, wait, what? Like, how?
Pre-recorded it.
Yeah, pre-recorded.
But I like the name Moonage Daydream too.
Moonage.
Moonage.
Bit of moonage?
Bit of moonage in the morning.
Get in trouble
Why
for
not?
moonage. Moonage in that film?
No moonage here.
Never.
Not yet. It is Friday.
Well, we'll see what happens.
And here are today's top stories. Jubilee Joy, Pomp and Pageantry. The Queen's big birthday bash gets underway, a party 70 years in the making. Prince Louis stealing the show as Harry and Meghan return to the firm. We have your front row seat.
Breaking at 7, triple tragedies. A fatal house fire in Western Sydney kills 2, and heartbreak in Melbourne. A toddler killed, mowed down by a cowardly hit-run driver.
Australia's energy crisis, the government's new plan to shore up supply, emergency intervention to bring down your skyrocketing bills.
Also today, underwater wonderland of world-first floating reef opening on the Gold Coast. We're taking you on a deep dive.
Plus, Tinder for Property, the new matchmaking app revolutionising how Aussies buy their first home. But what's the catch?
And it is our favourite day of the week. Friday Freebies is back. How you can win an unbelievable holiday on us today, Friday the 3rd of June 2022.
Tell you what, it is a good Friday when we are giving away holidays. You've got to be in it, my friends. Well, first at 7, the Queen has kicked off her Platinum Jubilee by lighting up the United Kingdom. Her Majesty, just half an hour ago, lighting the first of 3,500 beacons that span the length of Britain. She looked beautiful as she emerged from Windsor Castle to take part in the ceremony. Her grandson, Prince William, lit another beacon in London, leading towards a 21-metre high tree designed by Thomas Heatherwick. And then there was this. Buckingham Palace lit up with projections and images of the Queen throughout her 70 years on the throne. Well, Ellie Walsh is outside Buckingham Palace for us this evening. Her time. Ellie, it was a magnificent moment.
Oh, look, it certainly was, Allison. It was a magnificent moment to be here and to witness that 21-metre shimmering tree lit up here at Buckingham Palace by Prince William himself. This is actually a long-standing tradition with the royals. We've seen this used in events gone past, in weddings and coronations, in jubilees. It was actually a throwback to hundreds of years ago when beacons were used as a form of communication. These days, though, it's used as a symbol of togetherness, a symbol of unity. And so the Queen was not far away at Windsor Castle for a similar lighting of the beacon after a day of trooping the colours. Jubilee mania sweeping London to celebrate her historic 70-year reign. The Queen, senior royals gathered on the balcony for a spectacular air show. But the roar of the planes was too much for a little Prince Louis, who stole the show, jumping up and down with excitement, covering his ears from all the noise. There were a few people missing from that royal balcony, however, as it was reserved for working royals only. Prince Andrew wasn't there. He's tested positive to COVID-19. Harry and Meghan also weren't there. They were just a few windows down watching all the action from above, though. Today, though, the Queen looked relaxed. She looked happy and she did look healthy, although we have received word from the palace just a short time ago that she did experience some discomfort today because it was a rather long day on her feet for the 96-year-old monarch, and so as such she's decided tomorrow she's going to take a rest. She's going to put her feet up. But guys, we still have lots of action to come. We've got parties at the palace, we've got a racing day, and we've got a few church services as well up our sleeve.
Thanks, Ellie.
Turning some breaking news here in Australia. 2 people have died in a house fire in Sydney's west. Gabrielle Boyle joins us from the scene in Glendinning. Gabby, what more can you tell us?
Charles, I can tell you that emergency services were called to Armitage Drive here at Glendinning just before 5 a.m. with reports this house was well alight. It is a single-storey brick home. Inside, 2 people at the time this fire broke out. Fire and rescue crews managed to pull 1 person out of the property, a woman. Sadly, she died a short time later. It was when they brought those flames under control that a second body was found inside this property. I can tell you that Armitage Drive remains cordoned off, closed down as fire and rescue work to establish exactly what has caused this fatal blaze. Charles?
Gabby, thank you.
Also breaking this hour, a hit-and-run driver remains at large this morning after running over and killing a 3-year-old child in Melbourne's west. Isabella Staskowski is at the scene in Sunshine North. Isa, good morning to you. You've spoken to business owners.
I have, Alex, good morning, and one of those business owners has sent me some CCTV of the incident. It is too distressing to show on morning television, but what I can tell you is that in that vision you can see a red sedan. Shop owners say that that is that car that hit that little boy, and he was dragged some 100 metres on this incredibly busy road. You can also see in that vision that little boy's mum running over to him, picking him up and taking him away in her arms. The driver of that red sedan, believed to be an early model of a Toyota Camry, doesn't get out of the vehicle, doesn't stop to help, but others do. And in that vision you can see plenty of people. It was quite busy at that time, and police certainly want all of those witnesses to come forward.
These sorts of collisions, sometimes they bring out the worst and the best of people. You've got a driver of a car, for unknown reasons, they failed to stop and help this child. Now, I can just only hope that they didn't know it was a child, but if they did, what else can we say about them?
Alex, that little 3-year-old boy died in hospital overnight this morning. Our thoughts are with his family.
No words, Isa. Thank you.
The federal government is warning against knee-jerk reactions as it scrambles to find solutions to the nation's energy crisis. Let's go live to Eliza Edwards in Canberra. Eliza, Labor is putting gas giants on notice.
Yeah, they are, Ali, as the government tries to decide on the best course of action to deal with rising gas prices. One of the things on the table is boosting coal-fired power, but that's been under strain as well. Another is forcing some big exporters to save gas for local use, but pulling that trigger wouldn't do much in the short term either. So no easy fixes to save households from the pain of higher power prices. It's prompting calls for the government to offer some relief.
We're calling for the government to provide energy debt relief. I mean, already we've had at least 250,000 people who'd accumulated over $1,000 in energy debts during the pandemic. Let's remember, we had people who really struggled through there.
And Ali, many will shiver through this winter, warning some Australians will be reluctant to switch their heaters on because they're fearful they won't be able to afford their next bill.
Thanks, Eliza.
Convicted sex offender Robert Hughes has been granted parole and is now counting down the days until his freedom. Lara Vella joins us from Long Bay Jail in Sydney. Lara, he'll be released on strict conditions.
Yeah, Charles, including he'll have to report his location in the UK to Interpol. They will also need to know all of his movements and his travel details, plus his bank account, and also his passport details will need to be passed on. In addition to that, Charles, his wife said that she will recommend that her husband engages in psychological counselling. Robert Hughes has spent the past 8 years behind bars, convicted of abusing 4 girls in the 1980s and 1990s, including his former co-star in the very popular television sitcom Hey Dad. Sarah Monahan, she's spoken to Nine's A Current Affair and says she has mixed emotions about this parole decision.
I had thought that I would be really happy and I was looking forward to it, and then they called and I did not make it through the phone call without just the tears coming out. There was that thought of, but hang on, he gets to now move on with his life to go to England, but we're still all living with it.
Charles, the 73-year-old has renounced his Australian citizenship and therefore he will be deported to the United Kingdom by the 14th of June.
Lara, thank you.
A man is in a Sydney hospital with monkeypox this morning after recently travelling to the Whitsundays. Tim Avia is in Brisbane. Tim, good morning. Health authorities from New South Wales and Queensland are investigating.
That's right, Alex, and because this man travelled to Queensland in the days before his diagnosis, authorities want to work out whether or not there are any transmission sites here in Queensland and also work out where this man potentially got monkeypox from. Of course, the mere mention of a new virus potentially travelling